Moving on with D&D Rule Solution, we are exploring the Player's Handbook in detail, and we're going to start with the cover, actually. The beautiful, iconic 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons cover displays a fiery-looking image of a lone armor-clad female battling against a hulking giant with a number of hellhounds in the background, if you look closely. This is actually illustrated by Tyler Jacobson and features King Snore, which is a fire giant who is defending his home and calling these hellhounds into the fray. So in this case, if you think about it, the giant's not the bad guy on that cover. He's just trying to defend the house. King Snore is actually a famous character who featured in many of Gary Gygax's previous adventures, most specifically found in the Hall of the Fire Giant King, which was written by Gygax as a module for 1st edition Dungeons & Dragons. So there's some knowledge for you. Continuing with D&D Rules Solution for the week as we explore the nuances of the Player's Handbook. The Player's Handbook, of course, as we mentioned last week, is the first official rule book of Dungeons & Dragons. It has more than 300 pages of said rules, so trust me, no one has it memorized. It's argued by many to be the only book that you need to play, and in fact, even tactically, it is. It does satisfy that. So it has outlines for all original 10-player races, all of their subclasses, all of their sub-races, and of course, 12 complete player classes and their adjacent subclasses. It has backgrounds, origins, gear, statistics, variant and multi-classing rules. It has ability scores, checks, saving throws, and environment effects. It also has tips on adventures, playing and running and designing a campaign. It has spells, magic, and of course their spellcasting mechanics to go with it. And it even includes a basic index of creatures and beasts, easily enough to create, plan, and run your first few sessions of Dungeons & Dragons. So you can literally find everything you need in the Player's Handbook to take a campaign from concept to reality, making it really the only book you need. In another installment of D&D Rule Solution this week, we're talking about how D&D is actually described in the 5th edition Player's Handbook. There are many differing and varied ways or opinions on how to play the game, and of course, no approach is really wrong unless it hurts your players and the people around your table. My personal approach is always that Dungeons & Dragons is about collaborative storytelling. You gather together with friends to create a narrative and an epic, awesome story. But from the Player's Handbook itself, playing D&D is an exercise in collaborative creation, so it validates that a little bit. You and your friends create epic stories filled with tension and memorable drama. You create silly in-jokes that make you laugh years later. The dice will be cruel to you, but you will soldier on, and your collaborative creativity will build stories that you will tell again and again. Does that not sound like the game that you've experienced? It does for me, almost to a T. Wrapping up a D&D Rule Solution this week, I'm looking at great tips that are pulled from the first page of the D&D 5e Player's Handbook. These are actual tips for the game that are right there in the text. So, number 1, you don't need to memorize the rules, every detail of the game, or master the dice. None of those have any bearing on the best part of D&D, which of course is the experience playing with your friends. Number 2, D&D is an exercise in collaborative creation. Number 3, if you don't have friends who are interested in playing or want to play with anyone who does, and you will find friends in the experience of the game. Couldn't agree more. Number 4, D&D is a game that teaches you how to look for the clever solution, share a sudden idea that can overcome a problem, cross-functional experience and learning. And I've actually taken that into my personal and professional life, so I completely agree there. Lots of great things there, and I'm actually going to continue this in an article that takes tips directly from the text of the D&D 5e Player's Handbook.